Day 2 of my nightly walks. I'm gonna try to start doing it every single fucking day before I go to bed. I think that it'd be the most beneficial. And also just talking to the fucking camera at this point is pretty cathartic for me. Does it solve every issue? No, not at all. And I'm not gonna act like it's solving anything for me right now. But I do think there's a certain level of catharsis that occurs when I'm talking into the camera and just like sharing my thoughts with you guys. But primarily the only thing that's really been on my mind lately is just the navigation of emotions. So I don't really know what else to talk about. That's primarily what's been my thoughts. And I don't just mean the navigation of your own emotions, I mean the navigation of other people's emotions. And I know that you're not responsible for other people's emotions. Nobody's responsible for anybody else's emotions but their own. But that's not really true, or I don't fully agree to that. I think that when you're in a relationship, or not even, when you care about somebody, I feel like obviously you want to care about their emotions regardless. Like, it's obviously not your burden to fix them, but you're going to care. You're going to want to help them. And I don't particularly think that you really care if you don't. Like, how can you ever say you care? You can't even do something as simple as give someone a space to feel free to express themselves, even if you can't particularly help them. I don't know, I might start including other things that I do into these little videos, because I think I'm going to start putting these on YouTube. And if the first night of walks is on YouTube, then clearly you're here now. But probably chop this shit up. I probably won't just upload it raw like this, just because sometimes I say because I'm trying to figure out where I really want to direct my thoughts. But I'm not even gonna lie, right now I'm using this walk as we speak to look for a parking spot so I can move my car, because where I live we got street sweeping. So I'm trying to find a parking spot so I don't have to worry about that in the morning, and I don't have to wake up and interrupt my sleep, which is another thing that I really need to correct. Is I'm trying to work on fixing my sleep schedule, right? Like I talked about in the first video, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna combine the little 3 videos I recorded, because I didn't record them all in one walk or whatever, because at first I was coming out the bar and I was just walking back to my car, and I didn't really start recording until I got back and parked. And I think the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is getting my shit in order on a way that it wasn't before, because I was like, my focus is just a little split, and I didn't mind that, but right now my focus can't really be split anymore. So that's what my main focus is right now, because I don't think you can be truly successful unless you have your fucking shit in order. So I'm trying to get my diet back on point. I'm getting back to working out consistently. I'm trying to get my sleep schedule to be, I'm trying to be at early, not early, but I would like to be asleep by midnight, the latest, most nights, the latest. 11, ideal, because that means that I could pretty much get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and still get about my 7-8 hours of sleep every day. So particularly I would really like to get to sleep around that time. And then diet's a no-brainer. As far as workouts go, I'm really only going to be going to the gym to hit legs. And then as far as everything else, I'm probably going to be Now the moon looks beautiful right now. I'm probably gonna see if I'll take a picture in a second when I stop recording, but like this is crazy. It's like a crescent moon, I think, right now. That shit's beautiful. Sorry. And it made me think of somebody, so. But and then when I'm not doing that, I'm really trying to focus on weighted calisthenics. I want to start doing like handstand oriented shit and like backflips and shit like that. So I'm really trying to like get back to like more athletic style training and different things of that nature, and not necessarily focus too much on the whole bodybuilding shit or whatever. Not that I have an issue with that, but I'm trying to have fun these days more, just as much as I am trying to like have a good physique and whatnot. And I think those are mutually exclusive, and I think they're important. So, yeah. Bro, look how beautiful that fucking moon looks, bro. This camera does not even do it justice. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, it's not gonna capture it right. Not gonna lie. Tried to get a good picture or whatever the fuck, or recording or whatever, the moon. I tried. You let me know what you think. But I'm telling you what I see with my ojos. That shit is beautiful. So, and like, I don't know. At this point, just seeing the moon kind of reminds me of someone, so. So I enjoy it. You know? So, we're just walking. You hear the birds chirping. You know? There's always a little bit of something to be happy about, right? I've been thinking a lot lately about purpose. Specifically, like, the different things that drive you towards your purpose. And I think there's multiple forms of purpose, right? But I do think that if we're being honest with ourselves, most of the time, people's who purpose are driven by the people that they care about and about doing more for the people that you care about. You're always going to be putting yourself in a better position. Like, I don't know what it is, and we can agree to disagree on this, but genuinely, I think that if you're doing something for the sake of someone else that you care about, it just feels like you'll fucking run through more walls than you'll ever know. Right? You could be defeated. There are going to be times where, especially you as a man, is going to feel defeated. You're going to feel like maybe you're inadequate, maybe you're not enough. Right? And if you don't really have anything outside, you might just roll over and die. I mean, it happens every day. Like, you see it, people that are trying to get their families out the struggle. You see it, people with kids trying to provide for their kids. The list is endless, realistically, right? Because it's anybody you can care about. It don't even gotta be blood. It don't even gotta be family. And I'm not saying that your purpose shouldn't just be bettering yourself. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a bigger force, right? Because now it's not just you at stake, it's the people you care about at stake. It puts things into perspective. Because sometimes you're not always going to win the willpower game. You're not always going to win the mind game. You're going to have awful days. You're going to have days where you feel like crying. You're going to have days where maybe you don't really eat. All different kinds of things, right? And I just feel like being able to go, you know what? I'm having an awful fucking day. I gotta get this shit done. Because this person's counting on me. And that person's counting on me. That's just where my head is at these days. Especially as I've gotten a little bit older. I've had a little bit more experiences with things. whether that be successes, failures, relationships, losing people to death, different things of that nature. And I'll tell you right now, sometimes I wish my grandfather was still around so he could see the man that I am right now. And I'm not even at my best form yet. It seems to me, and maybe this is where some of my perspective comes from on this, that besides the few people I still have left now, and I'm talking strictly like my grandmother, my father, things of that nature, right? My mother, to some extent. Not gonna get into that. Most people that my sister, my brother, etc., etc. But like, most of them are just immediate family. I don't say just lightly either. But what I say that to say that mostly anyone I've ever cared about deeply that isn't of familial ties, I've lost. And not even primarily due to my actions in any way, shape, or form. So whenever I have someone that I care deeply about and I can do for, I try to do for. You know, I try to show them something different. I try to treat them in a way they've never been treated before. Whether that's friends, whether that's a girl that I care deeply about, whether that's, you know, I used to help train some kids for basketball when I was doing college basketball, and even a little bit after. And like, even that, like, you really don't know your impact. And that's like a big thing for me. It's like, you don't really know your impact until shit, I'm gonna be honest with you, you might not ever know your impact on other people. You get what I mean? Like, you could change somebody's entire course of their life with a 5-minute conversation. You could say something so profound that it fucking changes them forever, you know? So I try not to take situations like that lightly, where there's a lot of care to be given, especially, like I said, the people you deeply care about. And I know my thoughts are all scattered right now. I've been thinking about so many different things, and my mind's been all over the place. And I'm not gonna lie. Is this a parking spot? I need to hurry up. Let's see what the fucking time is. Fuck. Alright, let's go grab my car. Okay, we were able to find some parking. So, and it was actually some really good parking, so kind of hyped. Great for me. Like I said, I've just been thinking a lot about purpose. And I had some events lately, really over the course of the last 8 months, really made me redefine what purpose means. Truthfully. In a very profound way, too. I just... beginning to take the first steps forward in anything is pretty difficult, no? I think we can all agree to that. But they're necessary steps, right? You can only do and control what you can control. You cannot try to impose control. You cannot try to think your way into control. None of these things. There's a certain level of release that comes from understanding that you can't control anything outside of yourself. And don't get me wrong, I mean, definitely try like a motherfucker, right? Definitely fucking do your best at times to fucking try to control things. At least I know I have. And not just control things, but like, I'm just someone that does not like giving up. Doesn't matter the situation. Okay? So, it's very hard at times to surrender that level of control. But there's a certain level of serenity and peace that comes with surrendering that. There's a certain level of release that comes from like, it's like you feel a weight off of your shoulders. And not because it was too much for you to burden, not because it's not something that you don't want to take on, but you can only do so much, right? If the universe is not being a willing participant in your efforts, it means that your efforts are not being put into the right place. At least not right now. Because most of the time, what it's trying to tell you is, hey, you're not really having your energy reciprocated. Maybe you need to bring that energy back within yourself. Maybe you need to focus on yourself. Focus on controlling yourself. Focus on putting yourself in the best position to succeed, like I talked about in my first walk, because that's really what's been on my mind. And yeah, I just think trying to control everything is so tiresome. Trying to figure everything out, have all the answers, ask all the whys, ask all the why nots, ask all these questions, right? It's cool. I think analyzing is very important. I think trying to figure out where you went wrong, where you went right, what you did right, what you did wrong, same shit. And it should allow you to decide what to do next. And at times, it's going to be some of the most painful fucking shit in the world, man. It really will. It will feel like your heart is being ripped the fuck out sometimes, depending what it is. But it's necessary. So, I guess all of this is to say that really trying to surrender that level of control these days. And I'm really trying to get to a point where I'm letting my actions begin to lead versus my thoughts leading. I think I've spent too much time trying to lead with my thoughts lately, and it's not beneficial. Like, at times I feel great. I'm fucking locked in, I'm handling my shit. And it's not that I stop handling my shit, but it's so much harder to get shit done when your brain is bogged down with all these different fucking thoughts. That's kind of why I wanted to start doing this. I mean, I wanted to start doing this like 2 years ago, to be honest with you. And I just didn't. So I don't really mind if these things don't get views. Doesn't really matter to me. This is all really just cathartic for me. And hopefully by me expressing these thoughts, anybody who is listening can realize that they're not by themselves when thinking these things, right? I want to start to foster the energy I know that is within me, that in ways I've been suppressing. And I think the best way to do that is to begin to show up for myself every day in a consistent manner, in the way that I was consistent before. Because without consistency, there is no validity. And I think most of the time for you to really be able to trust yourself, for your brain to be able to trust yourself, for you to tell yourself something in your brain to go, oh, okay, word, that's what we're doing? You need to be consistent so that your brain can validate that you are consistent. You are in control. If every time you say you're going to do something, you don't fucking do it, or you say you're going to do something 5 days a week and you only do it 1 day a week, your brain is never going to trust you. So I really want to get to a point where I'm self-validating through action again. And I'm really just falling back into the things that I love, and not that I ever fell out of them, but over the course of the last 2 months, I've definitely had times where I'm too much in my head, to the point where it was not really allowing me to be who I am. And it's no one else's fault but my own. I kind of allowed myself being a bit hurt to take precedence. And obviously at times, like I said, we falter and hurt is going to take over, and you know, you're going to have some bad days. But I let it consume me a little too much. The hurt I'm talking about specifically. Because before that I felt I was doing good. For the most part, I was handling my shit, but I kind of got hurt in a way that I've never been hurt before. And I didn't really expect myself to be hurt this way. You know, I worked a lot on certain things, and I really built up a strong foundation internally, and I'm very secure in that, and I'm very secure in myself in that. But I definitely faltered a little bit, right? Like Mike Tyson says, right? Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I genuinely feel like I got punched in the fucking some Mortal Kombat shit. Motherfucker just ripped my fucking heart out type shit. So I ain't really find myself equipped to handle that. Because, yeah, sometimes things just blindside you. And I think this is me just documenting my thoughts through the journey of not just self-discovery, but healing. Because I would say right now I'm in a very big healing process, and it's very necessary for me to take these steps right now. If I don't take these steps now, and I try to do other things to cover up the healing that I need to do, or I try to act like I'm all good, or blah, 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 it's just going to come back later to hurt me even more. If I've learned anything through the trauma from my childhood and everything else that I've been through in my life, is that you need to allow yourself time to feel and just sit with that shit. Like I said before, the only way out is through. You just need to sit with it, and it feels awful, man. Earlier today, I cried for like 20 minutes straight. I don't have no problem saying that shit. Shit, the other day at work, I cried for like 30 minutes. Nah, it's probably like 15 minutes. The point is that you just gotta kind of let yourself feel things. And as you feel the things, as you allow your body to feel and you allow your body to express itself wholeheartedly, you will find yourself truthfully healing things that you won't even recognize until you're doing it. Like, there are some things that you just can't heal unless you let your body feel them. There's no thoughts, there's nothing to be done, there's no actions to take besides allowing your body to just express itself, right? And I feel like as men these days, I mean, the idea that expressing yourself is some sort of bad thing, or the types of ways that you can express yourself are some sort of bad thing, like crying. I think everything has its place. Everybody's hurt by different things. And I don't think anybody is particularly weaker or not, or stronger just because they don't cry or any of these kinds of things. You know, the last person I was with, I didn't have no problem expressing myself to her. And she was pretty reciprocal in terms of like, I mean, she was pretty, what's the word? Accepting of whatever I was sharing, right? And the inverse was always true. So I would listen to her talk about anything and try to be her safe space. So the idea that if you express yourself, because I mean the most popular thing is that if you express yourself, the woman's gonna leave you or some bullshit. And it's like only people that are emotionally immature or literal fucking like kids mentally act or think that way. I don't think anybody who's really well equipped does that. So, and if they do, that's not even a person you want to fucking be with. You want to be with somebody that you can't fucking express yourself for the entirety of your fucking life? Some fucking like idea of being shamed by your own person? So it's something that I really want to take seriously and really get back to. So anyway, I know I was all over the place tonight with these thoughts, but it was definitely beneficial for me to be out here talking about everything. And I know sometimes I'm being a little vague, but I'm maybe not fully ready to talk about certain things and express them on a camera, because I'm just not there yet. So, but I could last thing I want to say before I fucking cut it is have some faith. Have some faith that throughout your life you can think back to many times where things maybe didn't look the way you want them to look. And in some way they end up looking how you want them to look later. You know what I mean? And have some faith in yourself that whatever it is that you want, you can build. If you take the right actions, if you build the right habits, if you wake up every day with the right mentality, if you treat yourself with respect, if you honor your feelings, I don't really see how you can achieve almost anything you want to achieve. Obviously, if you ain't 6'7", you ain't going to the league. Sorry, buddy. Like, it is what it is. I'm not talking about shit like that. I'm talking about building skills, finding a job that you really like. I don't fucking know, man. Anything. My brain's a little fried right now. I've been up for a little while, so. But I think if you do all those things, you can really put yourself in a position where the right things will gravitate towards you. Sometimes things leave your orbit and then re-enter your orbit. And sometimes they don't. And I think the best thing to realize is that you want to maintain your gravity. The right things will appear in your orbit, right? The universe will put the right things in front of you. And that's just the way that I'm probably going to lead life moving forward. It's not that I wasn't doing that before, but sometimes you have certain experiences that shock you. You never expect to experience certain things in certain ways. And I definitely had a truly profound experience over the course of this last year, because it's almost a year at this point. In July, it'll be a year. So allow these profound experiences not to be problems, but to be opportunities. Things are not problems, they are all opportunities. Everything that you want, everything that you run into, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. In some way, it's always an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to move forward. It's an opportunity to improve as a person. All different kinds of things. Obviously, I said the same thing in multiple different ways, but it ultimately comes down to everything is an opportunity for you to be better in some way, shape, or form. And if you try to view it from that perspective, I think that things will just be a lot better in general.